Hey there, this is Cheryl again, your channel host. Today we're diving into a hot topic for all you jet setters, the must-know travel rules for carrying medicine through airport security in 2025. Trust me, these tips will make your next trip smoother, especially if you're flying internationally with prescription meds. I was flying to Florida the other day and got that SSSS on my boarding pass, so I had to get in a separate line for an additional check. Of course, I wasn't happy about that, but I had to obey their rules. When they got to the bottom of my backpack, the TSA agent saw my medications and asked me why I had so many. Can you imagine that? Lucky for me, all the medications I had in my bag were directly from the pharmacy, so they had the label on them. I still had to explain to the TSA agent that 3 of my medications were for my blood pressure, and the other 2 were diabetes medicine. I thought that was rude of her to utter her question out loud for everyone to hear her. Had I thought about it, I would have declared it to her. But honestly, I didn't even remember they were inside my bag. So make sure you declare all your medication and sometimes with an explanation of them, just to avoid any embarrassing moments. Okay, so here's the deal. TSA officers have seriously leveled up this year. They're more clued in than ever about the medications people need to pack in their carry-ons. They understand that medical devices can't just be removed on a whim and are way more aware of invisible disabilities and medical conditions. But here's where it gets tricky. When you're traveling abroad, you've got to be on top of the rules for your destination. Not every country allows the same meds. For example, Sudafed, totally banned in places like Mexico and Japan. Yikes! A lot of travelers find themselves asking the same questions. Where do I pack my medicine? Do I need to pull it out at security? Should I keep the prescription label on it? I get it. There's a ton of confusion, and that's exactly why I made this video. Stick with me, and I'll break it all down for you. Here's your starting point. As you're packing, ask yourself, am I bringing prescription medicine or over-the-counter medicine? That question alone will help you figure out the rules for airport security in 2025. Now, let me give you the golden rule. Never pack your medicine in your checked luggage. Just don't do it. Always keep it in your carry-on. And here's a pro tip with overhead bin space getting tighter these days. Make sure your essential meds are tucked into your tote or personal bag that fits snugly under the seat in front of you. That way they're always within arm's reach. Next up, let's discuss prescription medicines. Airlines don't care where you pack them. It's the TSA that's checking your stuff. Their job? To protect everyone on board from dangerous items. The good news? Prescription pills are easy to handle. You can pack them anywhere in your carry-on because they don't require extra screening. Stay tuned because I've got more tips coming up to help you breeze through airport security like a pro. If you're packing for an international flight, here's a key thing to remember. Your prescription meds need to stay in their original bottles with the prescription labels attached. When you land in another country, chances are those pills will go through airport security screening again. Yep, straight onto the conveyor belt. Here's a travel hack you'll thank me for later. Gather all your prescription bottles and pop them into a gallon-sized baggie, makeup pouch, or travel case. Why? Because it keeps everything together and easy to grab. If your carry-on suitcase gets gate-checked, we've all been there, you can quickly move your meds into your personal item bag without stressing or fumbling. Having everything in one place saves you time, hassle, and that dreaded, "Where's my medicine?" panic. Now, when it comes to packing medicine for international travel, whether it's pills or liquids, here's the golden rule. The prescription label must be on the bottle, not the box. Repeat after me. Bottle, not box. That's what airport security in other countries will look for. Got pills? Here's a pro tip. Ask your pharmacy if they can create a lightweight blister pack for you. Think of those foil-lined sheets that meds like Sudafed come in. Super flat and easy to pack. Have them stick the prescription label on it, and you're good to go. Only pack what you'll need for your trip, plus a few extras, just in case your flights get delayed or canceled. For liquid prescriptions, the rules are similar. The prescription label needs to be on the bottle. Pack that bottle in a separate bag, something simple, like a sandwich bag or even a gallon-sized Ziploc. This keeps it secure and separate from your regular liquids like shampoo or lotion. When you hit airport security, whether in the United States or another country, pull out your regular liquids bag and your bag with liquid medicine. They'll need to be screened separately, so having them prepped makes things way easier. Here's an example. When I traveled to London, I packed my prescription shampoo in its own little sandwich bag. When it was time to go through security, I tossed that bag in a bin, along with my regular liquids bag, and breezed right through. No drama, no confusion. Now, for over-the-counter pills, you can relax a bit. They don't need to be in specific containers or labeled. Pack them wherever it's convenient, in your carry-on or personal item. Just keep them within easy reach in case your carry-on suitcase gets checked at the last minute. I've got you covered though, so continue to listen to the things you need to know. Let's talk about packing your pills for your trip, because there are definitely some tricks to making it easier. Personally, I've packed pills in a couple of different ways. Sometimes I use a pill organizer, filling it up with my Tylenol, Zyrtec, or whatever else I need for the entire trip. It works great, but let's be honest, it can take up a lot of space in your bag. Here's a smart hack. Instead of bringing one big solid pill organizer, divide your pills into smaller daily doses and pack them separately. It's way easier to squeeze a tiny bag or container into random pockets of your luggage than finding room for one bulky case. And if you're going super minimal, you can always pack a few Advil or Tylenol in a simple sandwich bag. It's compact, lightweight, and works like a charm for shorter trips. Now let's get into over-the-counter liquids and medicines in liquid form, because the rules are a little different. Usually TSA's liquid rule caps containers at 3.4 ounces. But here's the good news. Over-the-counter liquids for medicinal use are an exception. That means you can bring larger bottles like a full-size contact solution or cough syrup. Hello, Robitussin. Even if they're more than 3.4 ounces. No prescription needed. It's all good because they're for medical use. But here's the catch. Since these larger bottles don't belong in your regular quart-size liquids bag, you'll want to pack them separately. The easiest way? Toss them into their own sandwich bag or gallon baggie for airport security screening. Once they're cleared, you can stash them back in your personal item bag to keep everything organized. Here's a quick mental checklist for packing liquid medicine. Is it a liquid? Is it for medicinal use? If the answer is yes to both, then it gets its own bag for security. Trust me, this little step saves so much time when you're going through screening. Oh, and about those tiny liquid items like disposable contact lenses or individual eye drop vials? Since they're for medicinal use, you don't have to pack them in your regular liquids bag. I usually throw a couple of small eye drop vials into my liquids bag anyway. They're so tiny and flat that they don't take up any extra room. If you're ever unsure about specific items, check out TSA's website and head to the section on medical conditions or disabilities. They have a ton of helpful info that can clear up any questions you might have. Stay with me for more tips to make your travels stress-free. First things first, when you're traveling with liquids for medicinal use, it's always a good idea to inform the TSA officer. Just let them know, hey, I've got contact solution in here. Do you need me to put it in the bin? In most US airports, they'll likely say no because a lot of places now have newer screening technology that doesn't require passengers to pull out their liquids bag. But here's the thing, the liquids rule still applies, even if they don't make you take it out. The standard rule is that regular liquid containers must be 3.4 ounces or smaller, and they all have to fit in a quart-sized, zippered bag. You can pack as many of those small containers as will fit, but the bag has to close. If you're traveling with a larger container like contact solution or cough syrup, and it's for medicinal use, keep it separate from your regular liquids bag for screening. After it's screened, you can pack it back with your other liquids to keep things tidy. Now what if you're packing something like ointment, cream, or gel? Let's say it's OIC. Here's a tip. Even if it's not explicitly listed on the TSA website under liquid medications, treat it as one. Pack it in a bag separate from your regular liquids bag for screening. And, pro tip, don't place it directly in the gray bins. Those things aren't cleaned often and can be pretty gross. Use your separate bag for easier handling and less stress. Here's the best travel hack when it comes to liquid medications. Do your research ahead of time and come prepared with proof. Whether it's a prescription label on a bottle or information you've printed from a trusted source, having your bases covered will almost always prevent issues. TSA officers have the final say, but if you're prepared, you're 99.9% likely to avoid any problems. Now, Let's get into prescription liquid medications. If you're carrying something like my prescription shampoo, which comes in a bottle larger than 3.4 ounces, here's what you need to know. You can bring it through airport security in your carry-on bag, but it has to be screened separately. And, this part is key, it must have the prescription label directly on the bottle. Let me share a quick story. A friend of mine had a frustrating experience at the Milan Linate airport in Italy. She had prescription eye drops, which came in a larger container, and it was confiscated at airport security. Why? 2 reasons. First, the container was in her regular liquids bag when it should have been packed separately. Second, and more importantly, the prescription label wasn't on the bottle. So, even though the eye drops were for medicinal use, they didn't meet the requirements, and she had to say goodbye to them. I know this can all sound overwhelming, but here's the good news. A little preparation goes a long way. Talk to your pharmacist and ask them to print a prescription label for any medications you'll be traveling with. Once you've taken care of this before your trip, you'll be able to relax and enjoy your vacation without worrying about your meds. Now, let's briefly touch on another topic: packing medical marijuana. TSA isn't actively searching for marijuana because it's not considered a threat to passengers or crew. However, if you're carrying an illegal amount or it's hidden in something suspicious and they discover it during screening, they're required to report it to the nearest authorities. So, while their machines aren't scanning specifically for marijuana, you'll still want to follow the rules to avoid any unnecessary drama. The bottom line? A little extra effort before you leave can save you a lot of stress later. You've got this. If you're wondering whether medical marijuana is allowed through airport security, here's how you find out. Head over to the TSA website at tsa.gov. In the top right corner, you'll see the What Can I Bring tool. Type in marijuana or another item, like insulin, and it will tell you whether it's allowed in carry-on bags, checked luggage, or both. For marijuana, it will also specify legal amounts and note the 3% THC threshold for liquids. Now, if you're taking medicinal marijuana in liquid form and the container is larger than 3.4 ounces, it needs to meet the medicinal use criteria. That means it must have a prescription label and be packed in a separate bag for security screening. You'll need to place it in the gray bin when it goes through the conveyor belt. The TSA site also mentions insulin. Insulin does need to go in the gray bins, but before you do anything, inform the officer. Let them know, I have insulin in my personal item bag. If you're carrying diabetic supplies, like a blood sugar testing kit, say, I have some diabetic equipment in my bag. Would you like me to take it out? Taking this approach, being polite, informative, and asking, sets the tone for smooth communication. Don't rush through this part. This is your vacation, and those other passengers in line, you're probably never going to see them again. Take your time. If an alarm goes off, it doesn't mean you're in trouble. It just means something might need a second look or further screening. For example, if you've packed your insulin inside a shoe, the machine might not be able to scan through it. That means a TSA officer will need to pull your bag aside, delaying the line and requiring extra time to sort it out. Avoid this by packing medications in a way that makes them easy to access. For those wearing glucose monitors, pumps, or other medical devices, rest assured, they will not be removed from your body. However, if the device triggers an alarm, the officer might lightly tap it or swab your hands to test for explosives. This is standard procedure and nothing to worry about. And here's a handy tip about ice packs. If you're carrying them for medicinal use, they don't need to be completely frozen. Gel packs at room temperature or partially melted are perfectly fine. But if you're using ice packs for something non-medicinal, like keeping your grapes cold, they must be solid when you go through security. For international trips with prescription medication, ensure that the prescription label is attached to each item. If an alarm goes off during screening, you'll be prepared. Knowing the rules of the country you're visiting also gives you peace of mind. You've done the research and packed accordingly. Keeping all your medications in a separate baggie is a game changer. If the TSA needs to screen them, you can pull them out quickly. And once cleared, they're just as easy to put back. At the end of the day, all of this preparation is about helping you enjoy your trip stress-free. Whether you're flying across the country or checking off a bucket list destination abroad, knowing these rules ensures a smoother travel experience. Thanks for watching, and I hope these tips help make your next journey the best one yet. Please subscribe to the channel for more travel tips and hacks. Don't forget to hit the notification bell either so you don't miss out on upcoming videos. Visit the links in the description for great travel resources. This will help to support the channel. Check out the YouTube shopping cart by clicking on View Products to the bottom left of the video screen. Until next time, do have a safe travel experience and see you soon.